Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's online Sunday celebration. Please join us for our opening song today, I Relax, Let Go, Release, and Surrender.
I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. And every day I affirm and pray that I'm blessed with everything I have. I release my fear, 'cause it's all so clear. I am held, I am loved, I am safe. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. Ooh. And now I see what my life can be when I trust in the process and have faith. And now I know when I just let go that I have all I'll ever need. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I am well, I am well. All is well, all is well. I am well. Ooh.
Back. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Sunday celebration service at Unity of New Westminster in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Whether you are watching us live on Zoom or on Facebook or on YouTube, or whether you are finding us on demand after the service, it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of all of us here. We would love to stay connected with you. So please subscribe to our newsletter on our website, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or join our Facebook group. And that way you will be notified anytime we have a service. The Unity Movement offers ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom in faith traditions all over the world. We respect every person's right to choose their own spiritual path, their own life path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. The connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen.
I've seen my share of struggle when I thought that I knew best, when I sailed through a storm instead of stopping to rest. And it always seems the hardest when I made up my stubborn mind. Well, I'm changing my ways this time. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain into shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the sea. Have you ever seen an eagle head straight into the wind? He doesn't pick a fight, he spreads his wings and just gives in. And in the end he always makes it home just fine. I guess he knows that every storm subsides. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain in the shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the sea. I'll let nature take its course. No more thinking that I know where this river's meant to go. I have railed against the stars for the cards that I've been dealt, for the lottery I've never won, for the heartache that I felt. But it always seems when I let go, expectation and regret, life has plenty of surprises for me yet. I wanna be like water coming down a mountain in the shadowy canyons, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the sea. Wanna be like water, coming down a mountain in the shadowy canyon, flowing from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the sea.
My parents used to love dancing. They were such accomplished dancers that they would win dance contests, and to watch them on a dance floor was absolutely magical. They would dance so smoothly and with such apparent ease that it was a joy to watch. People who were walking by, people who were eating dinner, everyone would stop to watch my parents on the dance floor. And to this day, I can picture in my mind's eye my father in the lead, choosing the next perfect step to match the rhythm of the music, guiding my mother around the dance floor. I can see my mom in perfect sync with him, completely connected with him, trusting in his guidance, trusting that his guidance was good, and knowing that all she had to do was follow his lead and dance the steps. In essence, she responded to his guidance, trusting that his lead would produce something beautiful, something graceful, something seamless, something good. And why am I telling you this story? Because it can help to illustrate one of the aspects of the fruits of the Spirit that Paul spoke about in his letter to the Galatians. He spoke about aspects that we would find in our lives when we live from a place of wholeness, a place of connection with the inner perfection that we are. And he called those aspects the fruits of the Spirit. There are 9 of them. They are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And the idea of goodness is what I'd like to speak with you about today in relationship to this idea about a perfectly connected couple dancing. For many of us, when we think of goodness, we would likely talk about kindness or maybe patience or love. And yet Paul makes a very clear distinction that kindness, patience, and goodness are all separate things. So what does he mean by goodness? Well, I went to the Merriam-Webster dictionary online and discovered that goodness, according to Merriam-Webster, is the quality or state of being kind, honest, generous, helpful, etc. I'm not kidding. In their definition, it actually has etc. It also is listed as the quality or state of being useful or effective, goodness, being useful or effective. And then I found another definition of goodness, which means the quality of being morally good or virtuous. In his book, The Eye of the Storm, Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons identifies goodness as an alignment between who we are and what we do. That when what we do is aligned with who we have come here to be, with that inner part of us that is eternal, that we feel complete. And that is the definition of goodness. When these two apparently opposing forces of what we do on the outside and what we are on the inside are in perfect sync, then we are in a place of goodness. And so if I put that together with the dictionary definitions, basically what we could come up with is that the measure of goodness is how well our actions align with our goal, with our intention to be morally good, to be effective, to be kind, to be honest, to be generous, etc. And I found all of that to be a little confusing until the idea of my parents and their skillful dancing came to me. Because what I recognized is that represented by my father in the lead is the integrity of our inner, our goal for our values and our inner guidance system, perhaps. And what is represented in my mother as the person following is how we express on the outer, how we actually respond and interact with that inner part of us. And to the extent that we can keep ourselves aligned, inner and outer, we will dance skillfully and gracefully. And to the extent that those steps are misaligned, where what we do on the outer does not reflect what happens on the inner, or what we care about and say we want inside of us, then we trip ourselves up and things become ungraceful. They become awkward. They become upsetting. They can lead to anger even. And so in our life dance, we are both the leader and the follower. As the leader, we hold our inner integrity, our internal guidance system, our principles, if you will, of moral goodness, effectiveness, kindness, honesty, and generosity. We know that there are steps that will help us to move into that place of goodness. So as the leader, we know what the steps are that we want to take. And as the follower, as the executor, if you will, executor of the step, it is up to the follower in us to follow that lead or to choose something different. Something that, as I mentioned, might trip us up. So the follower in us is our outward action. The leader in us is our inner guidance system, our integrity. And our goal is to follow the inner guidance, to trust that inner integrity, and to follow the lead of that integrity in how we listen, in how we ask questions, and in how we act. The more we trust the lead, the more smooth our dance will be, and the more goodness we will see, the more we will respond gracefully, with ease, with calm, with love in any situation. And so this picture of two dancers acting as one, this idea of being the lead and the dancer and connecting ourselves on the outer with the inner, is what we want to work towards. Less skilled dancers have difficulty because sometimes they compete for that lead, or the follower doesn't trust the leader. And we've seen what can happen then, right? We have dancers who fail, who trip over each other, who are frustrated with each other. It isn't really that much fun to watch. They are easily thrown off. Well, isn't that also true for us? Isn't it true that there are times when we act in a way that is not in alignment with our own values? And when that happens, we trip up and it does not feel good. And so one of the things we want to look at is what happens when we trip up, and how can we prevent the tripping up from happening. One thing to recognize is that practice makes progress. My parents did not become skilled dancers dancing as one single unit overnight. They learned, they practiced, they perfected with more and more practice. And so it is for us, if we are thinking of ourselves in this dance of life, that there are times when we know what we want to do on the inner, our leader, and we know and we respond to that in a way that works on the outer. And everything does flow more smoothly when that happens. Have you noticed? And yet once in a while, maybe more often even than that, we know what happens and we know what we want to achieve, and yet we trip up. Imagine, for example, that one of our goals is to be more loving. Someone comes along and says something to us which we don't appreciate. Maybe they criticize, maybe they complain, maybe they yell. And rather than respond to the inner guidance system within us, which is to be loving, we react in a way that trips us up. We yell back, or we do yeah, well, you're not perfect either. And then we list our own laundry list of complaints about the person. Or maybe an inner goal is to be generous. And so we've made this inner commitment that we want to be more generous. And then we have an opportunity to be generous, maybe to give a gift or to give a compliment. And we fail because we hold back our gift, or we hold back our compliment. Or maybe we've made an inner goal to be more honest. And then when we see a situation that is unfair and unjust, we don't speak up. We make this promise to ourselves that we're going to do it differently next time. And then discover that we fall right back into the same dance step that we have always done before. And in that dance analogy, those missteps are between what we want to do and what we actually do. The missteps are between what we want to do and what we actually do. And so our goal is to practice, to cultivate a perfect relationship between our inner integrity, which expresses as outward action. We want to dance seamlessly from the inside out, with no separation between what we say we want and what we actually do. How do we do this? Well, sometimes the easiest way is to know what trips us up and to come up with some strategies that might help make that a little bit more noticeable for us, so that when we see it coming, we can turn back to the lead within us, the inner principle within us, the guide within us, and allow that which knows the steps to take the lead. And so today, I want to talk about 3 ideas, 3 areas. The first is listen more, talk less. Listen more, talk less. This is a place that I get tripped up, a place where I behave in a way that doesn't always match up with the way I want to live. So I have discovered that if someone is complaining about something, or if someone has a different opinion than I do, that my normal dance step, my normal reaction is to become irritated or to try to find a way to get them to change their mind and see it my way, all of which are out of sync with my inner guidance system, which is acceptance, peace, love. It's also ineffective, unkind. And so what else can I do? Well, if I can, I try to catch myself before becoming upset or engaged. Before. And then from there, I try to simply observe. When Jesus was brought before Pilate on the day that he was executed, Pilate asked him if Jesus was the King of the Jews. And Jesus' response was, "You have said so." Are you the King of the Jews? You have said so. Jesus didn't agree. Jesus didn't disagree with Pilate. He simply observed that Pilate had an opinion. This has been a game changer for me. When I hear a person who is complaining, I think to myself, person having an opinion. It really helps to disengage myself from being involved in the other person's emotion, involved in needing to prove that I'm right. So when someone is saying something that you don't agree with, my invitation to you is to try this strategy of mentally observing and saying to yourself, a person having an opinion, a person having an opinion. It doesn't mean that I have to agree. It doesn't mean that I have to engage. I can simply observe. Another idea that I've found useful is an idea called literal listening. I have a tendency, and I'm sure many of you out there do as well, that if someone, for example, says that they want to be alone and they're upset and they want to be alone, that my tendency is to try to fix or to placate or to resolve things right in the moment. But what if we just allowed their request to be a real, honest, literal request? What if we just gave them the space that they are requesting? Maybe it's all that they need. Literal listening simply means not imposing my idea of what the solution needs to be, but instead allowing the person their right to tell me what it is that they need, and then to honor that request. This is especially true if the person is hungry or angry or lonely or tired, or we find ourselves hungry, angry, lonely, like isolated or tired. What we recognize is that when we're in those places, we tend to behave in ways that, let's just say, we tend to behave poorly. And sometimes we wish we could just have some time to ourselves and be alone. Literal listening. It allows space for people to recover. And it allows us the freedom to not go where we aren't really invited. And another idea to do with this concept of not going where we aren't invited is to do nothing at all. As my friend Martha Creek sometimes says, do not mistake a monologue for a dialogue. Sometimes a person just wants to talk and no response is needed, just a listening ear. What if we don't respond unless we specifically hear a request? Unless we hear a request, we don't need to offer an opinion. So step one in our idea of avoiding being tripped up between what we want inside and how we act outside, listen more, talk less. Next, let's ask with genuine curiosity. Once in a while, it is the right thing to respond to what a person is saying. And how do we do that in a way that is aligned with the goodness that we want to be, that is aligned with the idea of being kind and honest and morally good and effective? How do we keep ourselves in that place rather than tripping up with shaming or blaming or name calling or defensiveness? Well, the first thing we want to do is to take a breath. Take a breath. The more calm that we are, the more response-able we will be. The more calm we are, the more able to respond we will be. And the more calm we are, the more calm the whole situation will be. So the first thing we want to ensure is that we don't escalate. So take a breath. And then see if we can ask the question for ourselves of whether or not we can just be curious. It may be unpleasant to hear. But it may be that a person has a kernel of truth that they want to share with us. And if we can see their upset as an indicator of their unhappiness as well as their desire to connect with us, then we are in a place where we can acknowledge that we may want to understand what it is that the person is upset about, with a view, if not necessarily to fix it, at least to know where they're coming from. And so we want to deepen our connection with the other person. And how do we do that? Breathe. Remember that they are in connection with us. We want to be in connection with them. Our goal is a stronger connection. And so we ask, in whatever way feels emotionally safe for us, we ask the question. And the question is, tell me more. Now, it may be that tell me more doesn't feel comfortable. So it may be helpful to put a prelude of some kind in there, a preface, something like, I want to be connected with you. Tell me more. I want to remain connected with you. Help me to understand what you're saying. I can see you're upset. Can you explain it? How can I ease things for you? What would ease this for you? I am here to listen. Our goodness goal here is to understand the real request, because often the real request is hidden beneath a surface complaint. And often we address that surface complaint with our long laundry list of why they're wrong to have that complaint. And we never get down to the bottom, to beneath that complaint, to see the deeper request, which often is just, I want to connect with you more. And so we want to ask with genuine curiosity when it feels like the right thing to do, when it's time to actually understand what the person is saying, rather than just allowing the listening to happen. And then one last thing that we want to talk about with respect to goodness and this alignment of what we want on the inside and what we express on the outside, how we make that partnership between the two, this seamless dance. And that is to do with how we behave, what we do. Sometimes, in the interest of keeping the peace, we may be tempted to make ourselves small, or we may suppress our point of view. We may not speak up, or we may go the other way, and we may decide to retaliate to an injustice with an injustice of our own. I'm reminded of a story that was told by Martin Luther King about one of his family members who was driving in the dark, and somebody was approaching with bright lights. And so this family member, put on his bright lights, not to flash him to let him know that his lights were on, but as retaliation, to kind of teach him a lesson. These are not examples of goodness at work, making ourselves small or meeting like with like in a way that isn't productive. Neither of those are goodness at work. They are not effective, they are not honest, they are not moral, and they are certainly not kind. The goal isn't to lose ourselves. The whole purpose of this discussion is to connect with ourselves and remain in perfect relationship with ourselves. What Jesus in Matthew chapter 16, verse 26, reminded us with these words, "What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul?" We don't want to lose our connection with the lead, our inner guidance system. What we instead want to do is cultivate it so that we don't have friction, anxiety, resentment, anger, upset, both in ourselves and with the people around us. Our goal is this perfect dance between our inner integrity and our outer expression. Goodness does mean sometimes speaking up for what is right. It does mean speaking up for ourselves. It means taking a stand for the greater good. It means speaking honestly, sometimes saying no, sometimes taking action so that a change is made because a situation is unjust or unfair or doesn't make sense or doesn't serve the whole. You may have heard a quote which is often attributed to Edmund Burke. It says, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Albert Einstein wrote, "The world is in greater peril from those who tolerate or encourage evil than from those who actually commit it." The world is in greater peril from those who tolerate evil than from those who actually commit it. This could be said in another way, and that is, silence is condoning. Silence is condoning. So rather than silence, what can we do? Rather than fight fire, with bright lights and oncoming traffic that serve no one, what can we do? Well, Jesus, by his example, showed us how. He healed on the Sabbath, even though it was against the law. Why? Because the law was made by man. He said the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Man is more important than the man-made law. Jesus spoke to people who were not considered okay to speak to, even though they were of a different class. Why? Because he honored the person. He saw that people were important, not their labels. He asked permission before healing people. He shared radical ideas about man's access to God and about man's access to his own personal power. And even at the end of his life, he wished no harm to any person, staying true to his convictions. Goodness is not power over anyone. It is not powerlessness under anyone. It is standing up and speaking honestly, kindly, encouraging change in a way that doesn't meet upset with equivalent upset, but rather raises the response, so that we align our actions with our intention for good rather than being intolerant of those whom we view as intolerant. I love the picture of my parents dancing. That mental image is still with me today. I can remember the joy that it brought us to watch them as they glided over that dance floor, adjusting to the rhythm of the music, seamlessly working together for good. So connected. And we can imagine that same beauty and connection as us, as we dance through life. Our outer actions are in perfect partnership with our inner values. Our outer actions in perfect partnership with our inner values, with our inner guidance system. And to make that happen, we look for the places that trip us up and practice until we make progress. We listen differently, speaking less. We ask with genuine interest when it is time for us to speak. And we do the right thing for us, which is the right thing for all. When our outer actions are aligned with our inner values in a perfect partnership, the dance of life can be beautiful, an expression and celebration of goodness. Listen differently, ask with interest, do the right thing. The inner intention, the outer expression, working perfectly in a dance of goodness. I bless you.
Lately I've been noticing how much I've been blessed with people to love, peace of mind and happiness. It makes me want to pass along the love I've received as a way of giving thanks for what's been given to me. I've got a strong heart and I'm ready. I've got a strong love and I'm ready. And I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I used to have a need for more that bordered on greed, till I looked around and found that I had more than I need. I thought I had to have it all before I could share, till I realized what's mine to give has always been there. I've got a strong heart and I'm ready. I've got a strong love and I'm ready. And I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Well, I may not make a difference that the whole world can see, but if I can show more kindness, that's what matters to me. I'm changing on the outside, finding gray in my hair, But the difference on the inside is that I don't care. I'm losing my desire to be what I'm not. And I have what I want, 'cause I want what I've got. I've got a strong heart, and I'm ready. I've got a strong love, and I'm ready. And I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. And yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I'm ready.
You are invited to join us on Mondays at 11 o'clock for our weekly prayer service. It is a time where we get together on Zoom and we connect with each other. We share how we are doing with each other. We move into a time of guided prayer. And we read the names of the people who are on our prayer list. And it is a time of renewal, of connection. It is a profound experience of recentering. And so I invite you to join us for that. And if you would like your name, or you know someone who you would like to have added to that prayer list, then please email us at unityofnewwestminster@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to have the person's name or your name added to our list. Mondays at 11. I know it's hard to believe, but Christmas is just around the corner, and that means it is time for our annual Purdy's chocolate fundraiser. Every year we have an opportunity to purchase chocolates from Purdy's, and then the church receives a percentage of the sales. If you are interested in ordering this year, please go to our website to find the link, or call or email the number on your screen. The deadline to order and pay is November 29th. Thank you to Cindy Noble for heading up this initiative this year, as she does every year. Cindy, we are so grateful for you. You are a blessing to our community. There are many ways to give to our ministry at Unity of New Westminster, and we are grateful for the financial support which we receive from regular as well as one-time donors. Your generosity helps us to support our ministry and continue to share inspiring ideas for full and abundant living. We also support organizations that serve people in our neighborhood, in our province, and in our nation. Donations can be made through Interac electronic transfer, credit card, check, or cash. Please give from your sense of appreciation and your feeling of abundance. And thank you for supporting Unity of New Westminster. I invite you now to hold whatever you feel blessed for in your hands, in your heart. Financial, family, roof over your head, food on the table, just whatever you are feeling blessed with as we sing our blessing song.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we come to the end of another service. I thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed your experience with us today. I wish you all a very, very blessed week. Goodbye, everybody.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God. We are the love of God. We are the power of God. We are the presence of God.